to A Rosie Math Teacher, first period, accelerated 7th grade class today, talking about surface area of a cylinder. Y'all, this is a cylinder. Now, we've already learned a few things in our past life in school. We have learned, for example, how to find the area of a rectangle. I want you all to understand that when this is in the shape of a cylinder, the piece that used to be called a rectangle, now that it is wrapped in a curve fashion, turns into a cylinder, where I can take the measurement that used to be called the what, class? Circumference, and realize that, voila, this is now the what of my rectangle? Say it, class.
The
length. What was the height of my cylinder, from top to bottom, is now the what of my rectangle? Width. What would you do to find area of a rectangle, class? Length times width. Write that down right now. On the net you have already drawn. When you are trying to find surface area of a cylinder, you want to find the length of the rectangular piece, and you want to multiply that times the width. Please write that on your paper. I'm serious. Write it down. Length on the long side of the rectangle, W on the short side of the rectangle. Then ask yourself, when I am trying to figure this out, when it's in the shape of a cylinder, what will I actually need to find? Remember, when it goes from flat rectangle into a cylinder-shaped tube, what is the length now called? Instantly, it's called something else. What is it? Circumference. So what do I actually need to find? Instead of L, go in there and X that out, because on the measurements of a cylinder, you're going to need to find circumference. So write that it will be C to give you this length across the rectangular portion of a cylinder. Are you with me? So in order to find the circumference, remember our delightful song? Circumference equals pi times di, or pi times 2 radii. So write that along your drawing, along the length. Circumference equals pi d. If you need, you can also write circumference equals pi 2r. You write it whichever way. If they give you diameter, use circumference equals pi d. If they give you radius, use circumference equals pi 2r. Do I have any questions so far? That will give you the length of the rectangle. Now, we reviewed a moment ago. What do you call this part of a cylinder? On the rectangle, it was width. On the cylinder, it is called what? Say the word, please. Height. So cross out your W and use an H. So class, you will find the circumference by doing pi d or pi 2r, and then you will multiply that by what measurement?
H.
Height. So that you will get the area of all of this portion I am highlighting in green. Now, if we're finding surface area of the entire cylinder, once we have found the area of the rectangle, do we then also need to find the area of a circle? Yes. How do we find the area of, let's say we start with the circle at the top. How do I find area of a circle? Remember the cheesy song, circumference equals pi times di, or pi times 2 radii. Area equals pi r squared. Or my favorite, pi times r times r. So what will I need in order to know the area of this circle? I will need to find its what? Radius. And I will multiply radius times radius as well as times pi, or times 3.14. Then, how many circles do I have? I have 2. I have this circle, I have this circle. So actually, I need to use a formula, not just pi times r, but pi times r times 2. Excellent. And I want to write that as in parentheses. Okay? So in parentheses times 2. What will I now do with the area I have found for the 2 circles and the area I have found for the rectangle? What will I do with those numbers? Class, say it. I will add them together. So when I find the area of the rectangle and I find the area of the 2 circles, I will then add them together, and it will equal the surface area And whatever that number is, will I label it, let's say it was in inches. Will I label it in inches, inches squared, or inches cubed? Remember, it's a two-dimensional shape. Inches squared. You got it. You may stop.